Hey guys, we're getting ready to go ahead and do a full lift install on a Jeep JK we have sitting in the shop right now. We're going to take you along with us, go through every step of the process. This is going to help you install all of our short arm kits on the JKs, whether it's a Ride Right kit, Overland Plus, or Premium. So let's go ahead and hop in the shop and get going on this install. All right, guys, I got this whole 1.5 Overland Plus lift kit laid out in front of me. This is going to be for the Jeep JK. If you want to learn more about what is in this kit and the parts that go into it, feel free to click the link in the description and go through the unboxing video where we discuss every part and how to pick which kit is right for you. Now we're going to get these parts ready to get thrown on this Jeep. Right here we have a 2007 Jeep Wrangler JK 4-door. This is a sport model. We've already got it on the lift, all the wheels off, so we can get behind it, move around it, and get access to all the control arms that we need. Now that we got the Jeep in the air and the wheels off, we're ready to get going on removing some components so we can start this install. We're starting in the rear as it's a little bit simpler than the front, but most of the steps are going to apply both front and rear. The first steps that we're going to do is we're going to start tackling some clearance items. Before we drop the axle, we want to make sure we have enough room that we're not pulling tight on any wires or stretching out any brake lines. So to start, we're going to remove both calipers and hang them up out of the way. That way we're not pulling tight on them when we're at full slack. This is also a good time to check for any wires, such as your ABS wires, e-brake cables, breather hoses, and any other wires that you might have depending on your vehicle's trim. And now for the rear sway bar links on both sides. Once you pop the shock bolt out, you can now pull the shock out to release tension from it. Now you can work on removing the two upper bolts. Now with all the control arms and track bars loose, but with the bolts still in, we want to go ahead and drop down the axle so we'll be able to remove the old springs and get ready for the installation of the new parts. Now's a good time to go ahead and do any brake installation kits, especially if you're doing brake line replacements, as brake fluid is highly corrosive and can eat away at your powder coating. Getting this out of the way now ensures that all your new products don't get ruined. All right, on our rear JKS brackets, it's going to be similar to the front. We're just going to remove the factory bolt. And save this so we can reuse it. We're going to bring in our new JKS bracket. Just move the old brake line out of the way. And reinstall it with the factory hardware. With that snug down, we can go ahead and slightly bend our brake line to fit over the new location. You want to take the new included hardware with the JKS bracket and start to get it lined up through the hole. Once that's started, take a wrench, hold the back nut, and tighten it up. All right, as we're getting ready to install the new lower control arms, now's a good time to mention that when working with any hardware on an older vehicle, it is possible that some are either rusted, need to be cut off, or replaced no matter what happens. In this case, we're using new hardware. When we go to properly set up these, we use the provided dimensions that we give on our instructions to get the control arm length. For these lowers at the 1.5 lift height, they need to be 20 inches. So in order to do that, we're simply going to adjust them until we reach the proper dimension. That's going to be 20 inches center to center. Once we reach that, we can throw the jam nut down just to hold it temporarily. And now we want to ensure that each arm is going to be the exact same length. Best way to do that is to take your hardware and you're going to be able to pop it through the bushings. So I'm going to get this one kind of close and insert a bolt into the bushings. As you can see, this one's still short. Unscrew it a little bit more until they line up and insert a bolt. Now we know they're the exact same length and they're ready for installation. All right, now that we've gone through and measured them to the exact lengths that we need, we can go ahead and take our lower control arm and insert it. The adjuster side on the lower is going to go on the frame side. You can go ahead and pop that in.
Now is also a good time to look at if you are installing a premium kit with our greasable Johnny joints, that you install those with the Zerk fittings facing up towards the body of the vehicle. While that does make it slightly harder to grease, this can prevent any damage from occurring to those Zerk fittings.
Now we can go ahead and insert the lower side and then pop in the bolt. Once you have installed both sides, you can install the washer and nut. It's very important to remember to loosely install all these items. We don't want to tighten them at all until the vehicle's weight is fully on the suspension. As we take a look at our rear upper control arms and prepare them for installation, we can set them to roughly the provided measurements, which is 17.5 inches. But for upper control arms, we are not going to worry about setting them exactly. They also, unlike the lowers, do not need to be the same side to side. So we're going to install these roughly around the given dimensions. We're going to adjust them as needed to make them fit into the vehicle now, and then we can later adjust them properly. After removing just the one side upper control arm, we're now ready to reinstall the new one. So as we start, we can reinsert the original flag nut back into the slot in the frame. And then we note on our upper control arm, it has a bend to match the factory clearance. So we can then slot in the upper mount of it on the frame side. And slide the bolt back in. We can now start it, but of course not tighten it. Another note on these upper control arms is that the adjuster side is going to go on the axle mount. With our rough starting point, we can now insert this bolt as well. Now with our new control arms installed loosely, we can now finish taking out the rear track bar. This is going to apply to all models with a 2.5, 3.5, and 4.5 lift. This is going to go over your factory bracket. It does require this to fit, and it's going to relocate your track bar position higher to get your track set properly as it should be. On a two-door model, you're going to use our adjustable track bar to get the proper geometry due to the steep rear pinion angle on the two-door models. On a four-door, we recommend this bracket as the change in rear geometry is not as drastic as a two-door setup. For this purpose, we provide the bracket, allows you to relocate and use your factory rear track bar to properly adjust the track using these bolt hole locations for different lift heights. Here we have our adjustable rear track bar. You can see with the adjuster is going to go on the frame side. First, we can pop in the axle side and just slide the bolt in there to hold it. Now we're going to raise it up and get close to the frame side. If you need to adjust like we do here, you simply just turn it out, as we're not going to worry about adjusting it properly now. Now we're ready for the installation on the rear springs. On the JK platform, our springs are not side specific, but we do recommend that you use the factory isolators on the top of the spring. This is going to reduce any vibrations and any rattling noises that you can get. These are the 1.5 system, so they're getting the 1.5 rear springs. We're going to reuse those factory spring isolators like we just mentioned, and now we can slide in our new 1.5-inch springs. And now it's time for the rear installation of the shocks. It's easiest if you start one bolt, and with the hook design on the rear shocks, you can easily mount the upper and begin threading in the other bolt.
All right, installing our rear bump stops. We're going to use the 2 holes here that match up with the factory mounting holes. So we can slide in our hardware and get the included nut started. Same thing on the back side. With our hardware started, we can go ahead and tighten up these bolts.
Okay, now we're ready for the reinstallation of our rear calipers and any other hoses we took off. So now go through, check any ABS lines that you disconnected, any breather hoses like us that you took off, and reinstall.